Alrighty, guys, here we are again with another show series of Just Drive Cars and Life. My name is Naveed, and here we have Kris with us. So, Kris, thanks for joining us today on this video podcast.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, awesome.
We know a little bit each other from the aviation industry, obviously. Yeah. So, we got obviously Eric Polestar, Texan Polestar. He's in the aviation industry. Yep. Omar is in the aviation industry. So it's really weird how the aviation industry and also the car industry, when you combine them, something really crazy comes out of that.
The best of both worlds is what I call it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So we're going to go ahead and start it off. So you own a Volkswagen Passat.
Yeah.
Right? And it's really interesting because I used to own a Volkswagen Passat, and I even showed you a text message, right?
Yeah.
So the 5-cylinder, right?
Yes, sir.
2.5 liter?
Yeah, 2480 cube centimeters.
That's right. Very good. And you're stage 2, and you've got not only sports suspension, you also purchased new wheels for it as well.
Yeah, new wheels. So sports suspension, new wheels. I'm trying to get coilovers, but they're really expensive. I got the headers and the downpipe coming in soon.
Okay.
The air intake, the tuning is the most and like the biggest one. It's made the biggest difference.
Okay.
And the car, until we ran out of E85 earlier this week, was on E30. So once we get some more E85 back, I'll put it back on E30.
I see.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good plan. But I think what was really interesting, when I first heard your car and high RPM, and I was like, why does that sound like my car? and in all honesty, it does. Like if once you're going into the very high RPMs, I'm like, it almost sounds like my car is just 5 cylinders less, literally. Yeah. So I kind of like the sound of the similarities. And then not only that, how similar it is with the Audi RSs or with the Audi R8, but the fact that, it just has that V10-ish sound,
man, I was, so, the Dutch Texan, right?
Yeah, Case, yeah.
Yeah, Case is awesome. He took a video of me taking off from Cars and Cantina. I put it on my Instagram.
I saw that.
And I'm like, man, it just sounds like a straight Huracan, because a Huracan came up in the video like right before it, I think, about like 30 seconds, and you just could put them two side by side.
Okay.
It's the same sound. It sounds mostly like the Viper, actually. Because I've actually stacked a sound file of the Viper on top of a sound file of my car, and it's the exact same sound.
Which Viper are we talking about?
The new one.
The newer ones, the newer generation Vipers.
Yeah, the ACRs. Yeah.
Okay.
It was really interesting to hear, but yeah, it's pretty cool. It sounds like a lot of V10s, basically.
It does, yeah. I mean, like I said, it's got its own unique sound. But I remember when I first bought it, not bought it, I leased it back in 2012 because we were trying to get the idea of, do we need to buy, do we need to lease? I didn't know how long I was going to keep the car for whatever it was. But man, I had a bunch of great road trips with that car. Going down to Austin many of times, and then down to San Antonio. And it was just a comfortable car. And I remember for the longest time, like Volkswagen wasn't really good where they were. And then 2012, I went and test drove the brand new Jetta, the brand new Passat, and the brand new CC.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, man, the CC's got a lot of power, for a 4-cylinder turbo.
Yeah.
But then for some odd reason, I was like, I don't like the X-shape aspect of it, especially the trunk.
Long too.
Yeah, and then the trunk, but then again, I love the interior, I love the seating, but I was just like, I can't do the exterior. And then once I saw the Passat, I was like, man, that boxy shape.
It's got a muscular feel to it.
Yeah, and then not only the trunk, so much space.
So much space.
Yeah, it's like that scene in Analyze This or Analyze That with Robert De Niro. I don't know if you've seen it or not, but there's a scene where Robert De Niro, apparently he's playing as a salesman, right? And he's selling Cadillacs. And in the scene, a couple show up and they're like, yeah, we're thinking about buying a Cadillac. And he pops up the trunk and he's like, yeah, look at that,
That's great.
Put, full bodies in there, so I had the same vision, like, oh my gosh, that's a lot of,
Dude, honestly, in that trunk, you can probably fit at least 3 dead bodies.
Pretty much,
minimum,
at that point, yeah. But, so I also read in your profile, Test Drive Unlimited. That's not a PlayStation game.
That is an Xbox game.
Xbox 360 game.
Yes, sir.
And I played that game. Yeah, okay, and cool. I had fun playing Test Drive Unlimited on the Xbox 360 platform. And here's the reason why. Was when I even had the PlayStation 2, obviously everybody would play Need for Speed, Gran Turismo, and then Xbox 360 was the new technology / video game console that came out, and everybody wanted it because of the graphics, because of, I remember when Madden '06 came out, everybody was so excited about that, right?
Yeah.
So, oh gosh, that's such a long time ago. But I remember Test Drive Unlimited was a fun game to play, and then you can start playing online, and then the fact that the map was huge and you can take forever driving
it. was massive.
Yeah, and some of the races. Yeah, I remember there was like this one race or something like that. You had to get it done like in 30 minutes or 35 minutes.
It was all around the map. Yeah,
yeah, it was all around the map. Yeah, and I was like, oh my god,
that was the best.
Seriously, and I would put music on and I would just play. And I don't know how I got addicted to it.
Oh man, it was so weird because so my favorite car in that game. So my first car was the Saturn Sky. Still remember it was a blue convertible Saturn Sky. I loved how you could put the windows down and all the lights and stuff. And this is in 2005, man. Let's just remember this, okay? So that was pretty cool. But eventually, I played the game enough where I got the Chrysler Me 412. That was the fastest car in the game, right? It was that Chrysler concept car that no one ever heard about. And man, I just did that racing around the map all day long, dude. It was so fun.
I remember in Gran Turismo there was a map. And I think it was actually the Nuremberg in Germany. I think that was like the biggest
Nürburgring?
The Nürburgring was the biggest ring that you could play on Gran Turismo. And looking back at it now, it's funny. I think it's really weird how things like randomly pop up in your head. But I think the car that I drove in there on that track was actually the M5 E60.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was because I was always curious to hit 330 kilometers, per hour. And then I remember with the gauge setup that they had on the Gran Turismo, face edition or whatever, the front bumper edition.
Yeah.
Man, I just love the way that thing went.
That's wicked, man. It's kind of foreshadowed you owning the M5 a little bit.
I never thought I was going to own the M5. Like, I thought, like I said, I was looking at AMGs before I wanted to buy the M5. And, the E63s were going for such a higher price. And I was like, I guess they don't depreciate as much. And then after a while, I look around and I'm just like, well, holy shit. Like, here comes this M5 E60. And my best friend calls me. He's like, hey, I got it. It's like, all right, I'm going to come over and buy it. And here I am, almost 2019, 20, 21. So almost like 2.5 years later. And I have the car with me, so
it's awesome.
Yeah, have you? I can't recall. Have you been in the M5 E60?
We did 190 almost with the windows down. You basically took my skin off my face.
So you were in the car, okay?
it was worth it though, man. That was so fun. I just love the sound, man. When they get into it, revs out so high. When you just get into that high RPM, you can just hear it just screaming at you.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Even every once in a while, when I head over to good old Mexico to see what's going on down there, it's just to hear the sound of my engine. It's just something else. It's screaming, that's for sure. Yeah, I just wish it was a little bit newer. It had less miles, obviously, but then again, I enjoy driving it, and it just makes me happy. And there's no other car out there that sounds better, than my V10 platform. I understand everybody has an Audi R8 or Huracan or something like that, but my car is as close as it's going to get, possibly to the Formula One sound.
And there's cars like the Carrera GT or the LFA that are also on the same level. But I mean, for the price point, that's the best you're gonna get. And what I've been looking at is, and for the future, like maybe like 4 or 5 years, the Gallardo with the old V10, the 5-liter with the 6-speed gated manual, the 5-liter sounded way better than the 5.2 that we have right now. Sounds way better. It just took all the emotion out of it with the new engine.
I think there's like a YouTube guy out in Nevada or Arizona or something like that. He went and purchased that. Like that lime green Gallardo that had the twin turbo package on it that was built by Heifer Performance.
Hefner, right?
Yeah, Hefner Heifer. 2200 horsepower, and I think that thing sounds nasty.
Yeah, it's nasty.
Yeah. I'm like, man, they couldn't do that for the M5. Like, they can do it for the Audis, they can do it for the Lambos, but man, nobody out there can do it for the M5.
The M5 just kind of doesn't. The engine, I don't think it really handles it that well.
Well, I think I think nobody could figure out on how to actually properly build it. But there is actually a there's actually proof that in Saudi Arabia, there is a tuning company out there that has actually built a rear mount twin turbo kit for the M5 E60, pushing 800 horsepower and I think 680 to the wheel or something like that. Something really crazy. It's on YouTube, but
that's wicked.
Imagine having 800 pounds. No.
800 horsepower.
Yeah, sorry. When you're just thinking, it's just catches you off guard. But
800
horsepower and you know, 6.5 pounds of boost, you know, you're like, okay, that's on a V10 platform. Like, that's crazy. But then again, like, and we still have this debate. I still have this question, like, hey, how can you call an Audi R8 a supercar, Nissan GTR a supercar, but for instance, you can't call a BMW M6 a supercar when it's a V10 engine in it?
It's just a lot of different. Everyone has their own way of looking at it.
Well, at the end of the day, it's maintenance too. You know, like when we were talking about it with Haley or at Stick GTR, you know, she was talking about it like her transmission. Transmission service is like $2,500. I'm like, well, mine is not even compared to that at all. So okay, well, that makes sense. But then again, at the end of the day, you know, a V10 is a V10. You know, but if you can create or make it the way that you want it to, I mean, that's all that matters.
100%. Yeah, V10s are definitely one of my favorite engines. It's the 5-cylinder, then the V10, and the V12.
Yeah, but if you like the V10 platform so much, why is your dream car the TTRS?
Because
with the Audi?
It's special. So people.
Okay, what makes it so special to you?
Okay, people underestimate that car on a daily basis. We have these Audi RS3 sedans out here weighing 3,500 pounds with only 5 cylinders, just destroying everything on the road right now. Okay. People underestimate them. I don't know what Audi did, but they did such a great job with that engine. It's very special.
What did they do to the engine that makes it so special?
Well, so back in 2000 and the early 2000s, mid 2000s, they brought the 5-cylinder back in the VWs, right? One I currently have. Cast iron block, forged crank, cast rods, cast pistons. Okay. And it was just naturally aspirated, only like 140 horsepower. Okay. They bumped it up in 2010, I believe, to 170, and then they put it in the TTRS. So the TTRS came out. Had a really heavy engine block. It was notorious for understeer, but it was boosted. So it had dual clutch in Europe, manual 6-speed in America, and it had all-wheel drive, and I think it was a rocket in Europe. So they figured out that the potential for the car was massive, if they could just make everything a little bit lighter. So the new TTRS came out, and they were just like, people were just like, holy crap, this thing is insane. Because the engine block is cast aluminum. Everything's light. And there's a magnesium oil pan in the car. It's so lightweight. So it weighs just a hair under 3,300 pounds and makes 394 horsepower stock. The thing that makes the car insane is its tuning potential. There aren't many things on the car, like hardware-wise, you need to swap out to get 800, 900, 1,000. There aren't a lot of things you need to swap out to get 700, 800, 900, 1,000 horsepower in that car. I mean, the wave track differentials are just aftermarket differentials for the car that come stock with what's called Audi Hall decks, and it'll handle up to 1,000 horsepower stock axles, stock differential.
And the transmission can handle it?
Well, the clutches can't, but everything else can. You just swap out the clutches at around, I believe, 800, something like that. But yeah, I mean, it's just a really interesting car.
And what kind of transmission is it? Is it DCT or is it MCT?
It's dual clutch. That's what makes that car fast, is the dual clutch. That's what makes it keep on going. It's a rocket. So when people figured out the potential that platform had, they took off with it. Now, there are people in South Africa making 7-second quarter-mile passes in the RS3. There's a company in California called iRods Motorsport, and they build RS3s, TTRSs with over 1,000 horsepower, like 1,400 wheels. What I'm talking about.
Who's the guy that's got the blue RS3 that's got over 1,100 horsepower that raced Ken Block?
Yeah, that was iRods.
That's iRods.
That was I forgot his name. Oh man, I feel so bad.
Let's see. Well, hold on. Maybe we can look it up.
Hank.
Here. Hank. Okay.
Hank iRods. Yeah, that's the fastest RS3 in the world right now. He raced Ken Block.
Let's see if I can bring it up here real quick.
Men in Black.
See, nice. I know, right? Hank, what's up?
iRods. IROZ.
So that's it right there.
That's it right there. So since that video right there on the top, they've taken out the back seats. They've done some weight reduction. Okay. They're working on deleting the AC and getting more power into the car. Okay. But yeah, that is a very underestimated platform.
And it's an all-wheel drive car.
It's all-wheel drive.
That's why it's got the radials.
Now, it's interesting all-wheel drive. I'll tell you how it is. It's 100% front-wheel drive until the rear wheels need traction, and then it's 50-50 full-time. It's never 100% rear. It's never 51% rear. It's 50-50 until it has enough traction, and then it's just 50-50 the whole time. So if the front tires catch, it's 100% full front-wheel drive. But if the front
that's why you can pull hard.
Exactly.
Because of the weight ratio.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now here's
just like the Honda Civics. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Now here's the disadvantage of the 50/50 is that you see these rear-wheel drive cars like
for instance, my car.
Yeah, doing like 200 plus miles an hour. Because 100% of the power is being put to the rear. The rear is what gets you to top end. The Audis are only doing 50 to the rear. But they're still top ending people because of how lightweight they are and how heavy everyone else is these days.
And when you say Audi, are you talking about just specifically the RS3s or all Audi platforms?
Honestly, I don't know how the rest of the Audi all-wheel drives work. I'm pretty sure it's a similar system, but the TTRS and the RS3, I mean, they're taking out 1,000 horsepower McLarens in roll races right now.
So to sum it up, even though you like German cars, however, you're in the Audi VW group.
I wouldn't say I'm in the group. I kind of do my own thing, but at the same time, I'm interested in Audi because they have the 5-cylinder. It's a very unique sounding engine. It's a very unique engine. It's hard to understand until you actually get behind the wheel of one.
In regards to that, though, we don't see a lot of people with Audis in Dallas.
Nope.
Hardly.
Especially the 5-cylinder. That's the rarest.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's maybe one person that I know that's got an RS3, the blue one. What's his name? Avery or something like that?
It's an S3. It's a 4-cylinder.
Interesting. Okay.
There's I know 2 people in DFW with RS3s.
Okay.
Actually 3. I know 3 with RS3s. I know there's Heath. Then there's I forgot his name. There's 2 more. And then there are 3 TTRS in DFW. There's John Hodges. Hodges TTRS on Instagram. There is Mike Arroyo RS, and then there's a Daytona Gray Pearl one, which is the color.
Which one was the one that I saw at Cars and Coffee? The lizard green Audi TTRS.
I think that one was a rental.
Really?
Yeah.
Like from Turo or like a lease?
I think so, because I saw it on Turo a couple weeks ago, just for like a few days. Yeah.
Really interesting.
So I think someone here owns it, but I think they just rent it out. I don't know if they put many miles on it, but yeah, the Monster Green I think is what I think it's either Kalami Green or Monster Green is what it's called. Beautiful color.
Interesting.
But I don't like bright colors because if you're running from the cops, they can see you from miles away.
Well, I mean, in regards to that, I was thinking about wrapping my car fluorescent yellow. Yeah, I'm still thinking about if I want to do it or not. But now that I've got the M3, it's probably going to have to change the game up just a little bit. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
All right. So 10 years from now, you want a McLaren P1 and a Pagani Carrera.
Why we're BC? You wonder why?
Yeah.
Well, you see, I'm not too big on hypercars, okay?
Okay. And let me tell you this.
Yeah.
I don't like McLarens.
Yeah.
So I don't like McLarens and I don't like Lambos. If I've already spoke with Assad last week, if there's one supercar that I would like to own, would be the Ford GT.
That's a great one. The new one or the old one?
Old one.
Good.
Not the new one. The old ones, yeah. Good. I could get away with the old ones, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. See, for me, the P1 was my favorite hypercar that I had never seen until last year.
Okay.
So for 7 years, I never saw one in person. I went over to Tactical Fleet late last year. There was a meet there. I'm not sure if you were there or not, but I went inside and they had a P1 under a cover. So all I saw was the carbon fiber undercarriage of it. I didn't saw the lines. I didn't see the actual car. November last year, I went into McLaren Dallas, and they have the silver P1 there right now, right? I think they still have it, but they had it there at the time.
Okay.
And it was under a cover. And Simon Crosley is his name.
Okay.
Really nice English dude from Britain, obviously, because you got to have a British guy there, right? He comes over, he's like, I bet you want to see the car, huh? I'm like, yeah, I've never seen one before. He's like, all right. So he rips the covers off, and I fell in love with the car when I first saw it. I didn't expect to. I was like, I started crying, actually.
Did you really?
Started crying.
Are you serious?
I started crying, and he was like, you okay, mate? And I'm like, yeah, I'm good.
Why did you cry, though?
I don't know. It just felt right, And I saw the car, and I got really emotional. I started crying a little bit. And he was like, well, there it is. And so I looked around the car and, looked at every angle and every curve, and I was like, man, this thing is awesome. And he grabbed the key. He's like, "Here, listen to how it unlocks." And he pressed the unlock button and made like this metallic unlocking mechanism sound, like an old car. And he, it was like
something like
it was
that?
like. It was loud. It was a noise.
Obnoxious.
It echoed. Well, it wasn't too loud.
Okay.
But it was audible.
Okay.
And he opened the door, and so I could see the chassis number 126. And I loved the car. Now the thing
Did he let you sit in it?
No, he didn't let me sit in it. But I got to take some pictures of the interior. But I took pictures of all around the car. But the thing is, you see, I have the P1 and I've had the P1 in a lot of video games, like racing games, and I love the way it sounded, the way it drove. And I watched like YouTube videos and stuff about like the P1 on the track. It was just a monster, just uncontrollable.
I'm trying to process your whole entire emotion as you're explaining this.
I'm sorry.
This is
yeah,
interesting.
It's a very emotional car. It's very raw power. It's not forgiving. It's a very deadly car, if I could put it like that. It's very volatile, but you have to be able to control it, right? And it's one of those cars that just kind of like, you put your foot to the floor and you're gone. There's nothing keeping you from going.
Have you played it in your VR Gran Turismo edition?
I don't have Gran Turismo, sadly. I don't even have. I can't afford VR, but I have it in I have it in every Forza Motorsport.
Okay.
Forza Horizon 3, Forza Horizon 4.
Yeah.
I have it in Project Cars 3. It's my most immersive sim right now, but it's not as realistic as Forza Motorsport, but it's the most immersive. And it's a wicked car, man. And just finally seeing it kind of opened my eyes, And I it's all carbon fiber. It's so lightweight, and it doesn't have as much downforce as the Senna, but it's so much more gorgeous. It just feels like a kind of car we just totally fit
compared to like the LaFerrari, compared to the AMG GTR Black Series, or
the LaFerrari is not twin turbo.
Yeah, but still,
it's got a V12. I know, but man, dude, I don't like V8s. I honestly do not like V8s. I'm not a V8 fan, but that P1 is something different.
Okay.
You kind of have to, you have to go in with like a really clear view of it. You can't have any bias towards or against McLaren or against the car or against any other car. You have to just kind of see it for what it is. And once you just kind of isolate everything, you can take everything in. That's how I would look at every car that I dream of. But yeah, the P1, it's something really special. It was made with such detail. It's one of the most iconic car designs in history. I mean, the taillights. There's no car on Earth with taillights like that. It's before or since. So there's a lot of special stuff. There are little things, but are all really special about the car to me. Now, I know you don't like McLaren.
No, I don't.
But I want to know why. I
just don't like the way it looks, period.
Yeah.
There's something about cars that I really don't like it to... How can I describe it? It looks too futuristic, science fiction type,
like a spaceship, right?
Almost like it's as if I'm watching when iRobot came out with Will Smith and the Audi R8. They made it to that futuristic concept edition.
That. I was just
ever since then, like it just didn't really look that appealing to me. Even with the doors, Lambo doors are open up to the side. However, whoever owns a McLaren, I like them.
Yeah.
Like I don't have any problem with McLaren owners.
Yeah.
But their cars, it's just not that appealing to me. Like, but I give them every glory or all the power of what they do to their cars, as far as like carbon fiber setups or rims or performance or anything like that, right? Yeah. Tuning, whatever it is. But it's just not appealing to me.
Yeah, I completely get it. It's more of an acquired taste. It's something that you just can't really. It's hard to walk in and love it. You kind of have to. It's like. I didn't love that car until I saw it. It took me 7 years for me to actually genuinely like that car. I had it in games and stuff, and I drove it from time to time. But once I saw it, man, it just kind of opened my eyes.
I see.
And then with the Pagani, let's talk about that because that's an interesting one. It's a museum on wheels. Okay.
Why is it a museum on wheels?
Because every piece, every panel of carbon fiber is hand woven. It has 0 imperfections. If it has a single imperfection, they throw the whole panel out. Okay, now, as you know, we sadly lost a Huayra a few months ago. Tragic. I know. I have pieces from the car with carbon fiber in them, and they are perfect pieces of carbon fiber. is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
That car is a masterpiece. The V12 sounds incredible. Now, see, I know that they went away from the naturally aspirated V12 of the Zonda, and they went to twin turbos. But that honestly kind of enhanced the driving experience for me because I like turbos more than NA. It's just it's a personal preference.
Well, I mean, besides that, at the end of the day, it's still a reliable engine. Hence, that it was made by Mercedes.
Exactly. Yeah. And it was Mercedes AMG, very good department. And just the twin turbos just opened that car up.
I mean, I can see where you're coming from. I think what you're basically looking into the amount of sophistication and art that was put into the vehicle because everything was basically handmade, from the engine being hand built, from all the carbon fiber, input that's been into that car. It's I can see where you're coming from in terms of like when you say it's like a museum on wheels.
Yeah,
so that's really interesting. And matter of fact, I haven't really heard anybody say something like that, so it's actually kind of interesting to hear it. Somebody say it's a museum on wheels.
And basically, it's like an art piece from a museum or a museum itself on wheels. Now, here's how intricate the details. Again, I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
I have a little tiny bolt from the one we lost last year. Okay.
Yeah, I remember you talking about that bolt.
So let me let them hear this. Okay. The bolt is this tiny. Okay, this tiny. It's titanium, very lightweight but very strong. Has the little inscription of Pagani on the head of the bolt. Okay.
Right.
And then there's a washer. Okay. The washer. You're never gonna see the bolt. You're never gonna see the washer. When you pull the washer down, it has Pagani inscribed on it as well. On the washer, on the side that's supposed to face.
I saw it. Yeah.
It's incredible. It really is because they put detail into a part you're never gonna see.
Yeah, and then you wonder like how much that part would be by itself.
That bolt's $80.
Really?
Yep.
That little freaking bolt.
Yep. I also have a little piece of carbotanium from the car as well.
So these are things that you're just going to keep from the car for your own glory, I guess would be the word, or for your own satisfaction, or is it because you just want to be part of something?
I missed the purple Pagani.
You do?
Yeah.
You saw the all black one, right? The all black with, I think it was red interior or something like that?
Exposed carbon? Yeah, I saw that one before he got rid of it. Now, Tim's got the BC on the way, the BC Roadster.
That's right.
That's going to be a killer. That's going to be a hit for sure. I missed the car, so I was just like, take. I left some for people.
Here's the thing, so you've obviously been to Fueled Up, you've been to Cars and Coffee South Lake, you've been to Cars and Cantina. Did you ever thought about maybe going to a SEMA auto show or going to the Pebble Beach auto show or Monaco, auto show or anything like that?
Monaco would be cool, but it's far. But I think Gold Rush Rally would be really interesting.
Why Gold Rush Rally?
Because it's just cool cars just screaming on by 24/7 in the rally. I mean, it's crazy. The kinds of cars you'll see. I mean, people.
Well, speaking of, I'm actually hosting my very first exotic cruise next Saturday. So some of those are going to miss out on Cars and Coffee South Lake. So sorry about that, Steven.
Sorry, Steve.
So there's there's a GT3 RS in there. There's I think like 4 McLarens, 2 Ferraris, and then I have a couple of the Texas Elite Driver members in it. And majority of them are BMW M's and
BMWs,
the M's, right. And then,
power,
pretty much. And but the thing is that I've been around exotic cars. As a matter of fact, Jordan with Supercars in Dallas invited me to be part of their Austin rally that they hosted a couple months back, and there was probably like 7 or 8 of us, and we're all supercars and took the back roads, and one of the guys had a GT3 RS, and I told him, hey, you need to yell by me and like at 7,000 or 8,000 RPM. And I was like, well, that's a done deal.
Okay.
Yeah, one of the guys had a McLaren, and then one of the guys had a Stage 3 CLS 63. Like it was just
those are wicked.
Yeah, and then there's a Alpha 4C in there, and then a BMW i8, and then Cayman GTS. So. Or GT4, I can't remember, one of the two. But like, it's really cool to be around supercars, and then when you're cruising with them. But yeah, once you're going on the highway and you're trying to cook it, that's a different story. Now, there's only 2 or 3 people with supercars that I've had a great experience with as far as cruising on the road, and I'm talking about obnoxious speeds. I'm talking about like, we're going to go to jail. And I won't name him on the show, but they do drive supercars, and I always have a pleasure and a glorious time with them because our level of communication, our level of understanding of how we drive is just, wow, it's amazing.
You remind me of is Super Speeders Rob from like 10 plus years ago.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah, that guy.
He's kind of settled down now. He's doing his
own
thing.
Ferretti?
Rob Ferretti.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. They used to do crazy stuff back in the day. Oh, man, yeah, I remember that.
They had like who can get it pulled over first.
Yeah, I remember that. That was him. That was him between Farah, right? Matt Farah.
Yeah.
It was with the It was with the SLR and the Corvette.
Yeah, then I think
Matt got himself pulled over,
and the Corvette
said screw it. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that was good stuff. God, yeah, that was absolutely good stuff.
Yeah, that was great. Honestly, Rob Ferretti was pretty legendary back in the day.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Sorry, I think I'm getting a couple people to respond. Sorry about that. We'll have to keep on going back. I think one of the guys in the group chat was, or in the video chat, was asking about my new car that I just bought, and so
it's an interesting one.
It's an interesting one, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. We got to take care of you first. So
okay, thank you.
Of course. So so then Gold Rush Rally you want to be part of, right?
That would be nice. Yeah. You see.
What about the Bull Run?
I never heard of that.
The Bull Run from New York to LA.
Oh
yeah.
Oh yeah, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, the Bull Run. Yeah, I wanted to try the Bull Run, but that's probably going to be like 10 or 15 years down the road. But from what I keep on hearing recently is that the majority of the guys that have been doing it, because they're saying there's no laws, like there's you can do it however you wanted to do. But I'm like, man, I was like that takes the adventure out of it, because the last guy that did it, he's on he's sponsored by VinWiki, and he's with Tavarish and Hoovie's Garage, and they do their own show series, kind of like they kind of do like a Top Gear / Fifth Gear / car shows on YouTube. And he was a guy that had the Mercedes CL55 or something like that.
Okay.
And he put a bigger fuel tank in there and had a spare and so on and so forth, like had 12 different radios, some crazy thing like that.
Yeah.
And DDE actually went and reached out to them, I think not too long ago, just asking about the car. Like, hey, like what was the story about this? But basically, I just think it's cheating the system, in my opinion, when, they're saying that there's no laws. I'm like, no, there should be laws. Like, you have to make it more adventurous. But I think what they're saying, well, it's already hard enough to run it, when you're trying to get from there to there in less than 30 hours or so,
It's some crazy stupid number.
Yeah. And it's just like, okay, well, man, I don't know. Like, we'll see, or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But for me personally, the car show that I want to be is in Monaco, like you said.
Yeah.
Monaco first, and SEMA second, and then Pebble Beach third.
Yeah.
I think some people are gonna, chew me out on why I picked up Pebble Beach last, but
I heard Pebble Beach last year had a few Apollo IEs show up.
Really interesting.
Yeah, and that's a car I want one day, but they're so rare, it's just impossible, pretty much. But
okay,
yeah, it's a hell of a car.
So coming from the German background, right?
Yeah.
Why were you not ever interested in the JDM platform, domestic American muscle? Just it never settled for you?
It's interesting. So, I grew up here in Texas, and man, I've seen so many muscle cars. I've seen like four Mustangs just today. And where I grew up over in Keller, and that's like Mustang City right now, dude. You go in Keller, if you drive through Keller, if you blast through 200 miles an hour, you'll still see a Mustang. Like there is Mustangs everywhere. The thing is, I grew up around V8s a lot, okay? And it kind of was just like, I don't want to be like literally everybody else in Texas. And muscle cars, the thing is, they don't do it for me. They're heavy. They only go fast in a straight line. Well, most of them. Like the Z01 Model E is an exception because I've rode in that one. But they're mostly just designed for just straight line racing, and I don't really like that. I like a car that can do everything.
Okay.
It's just doing only one thing won't do it for me. I drove a Hellcat last month, a Charger Hellcat. We went like 150, and it was fun. But once we got to like the curves and stuff, car couldn't handle it. It just couldn't do it. So personally for me, the Germans do it best when it comes to making a good all-around car. I mean, you even have Mike with the M6, and he took me for a ride, and that thing handled a roundabout like a dream. Think how heavy.
Yeah,
it was,
I remember when he just got his. I think he had just recently just got his car back, or he was fixing to turn it in to do a clutch upgrade.
Yeah. Oh, I think he told me about that. He was going to do that.
Something like that. Yeah, and then he just got these Toyos, the Toyo R888s,
the R888s, the semi slicks, yeah.
And he was like, "Hey, let me take you down the street," and I got in the car, and before I knew it, like he gunned it, and before I knew it, we were already in the 3-figure mark.
Yep.
And I was like, I was calm the whole entire time. I was just impressed that it was pulling, like the amount of G-force that was created in that car. And I know he pushes around 600 right now with this car.
No more than that.
Yeah.
800.
You think so?
800. Because he was doing 750 when I was in the car with him. We went from 60 to 130 in less than 6 seconds with me in the car. And he's a big dude, and that's a heavy car. So
I remember at one point he was saying he was at 700, but
he's probably at least 750 by now. Crank.
Yeah, well, maybe we can
ask him.
We can probably, or we can ask the guys at Joe-Tech because that's where he does it. So yeah, or plus others can confirm it as well. So, but no, I mean, at the end of the day, I still respect his car. He has crazy horsepower in that car, and his turbos. Every single time when I heard his car, I'm like, dude, I can hear your turbos like crazy. And it's a heavy car. It's a yacht. Yeah,
it's big.
He comes up and he can compete with the GTRs, and that's just something else. I mean, when it was that and the F90 competition, and one of the guys had a Nissan GTR, the one that had the Nissan GTR, I knew he had a tuning issue when they were first running it. And after he got the tune, the rest was history. Yeah, because I'm just like, okay, there's no way, But then again, recently I found out there's this guy that has a Mustang over 1,100 horsepower, and he was competing against the Huracans and was destroying them. And that just made me go, I'm like, okay, all right, so weight, block, tune, like what is it? What makes these guys so different that they can compete against each other like that? Obviously weight plays a major factor. Tires play a major factor, and then obviously your engine, your motor, your setup that you have. But at the end of the day, everybody has whatever they want, know. But I thought, from what I remember, I kept on asking him, I was like, Mike, what are you pushing? And it was like, I'm pushing 7. And then the other day I tried to ask him, so what are you pushing on? He keeps on saying, I don't know. And as stubborn as that answer is, it's just like, okay, well, whatever.
Enough.
It's pretty much, So basically what he's trying to say is that I have enough. And I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
It's whatever.
Honestly, this 1,100 horsepower Mustang, I think I might know who that is. That might be my buddy Bradley. I'm not sure, but he has 1,000 horsepower Mustang just rebuilt. But man, wait for the UGRs.
We'll see.
We got Huracan Hulk here in Dallas, and he's got a 2,000 horsepower UGR. You don't see him much, but those are.
At the end of the day, we'll see. Yeah. I mean, we'll see. But if there's anybody that has, in my opinion, a really good car and that is competitive and willing to bet on, I am gonna bet on Tom's Audi R8. Yes.
I don't who?
Tom. He has a 1,200 horsepower Audi R8.
Oh.
Yeah. I will bet on his car
That's
any day.
That's a good one, yeah.
I will bet on his car any day.
Yep.
If anybody said that I want to race him, I would bet on Tom. Every time.
Every time, yep.
Every time, no hesitation.
Exactly.
I really don't care what anybody says. I don't care what anybody thinks. I'm like, okay, you think you can beat him? Show me. And I'm willing to put a bet on it.
Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely. And and his car is rare. His car is super rare, and a lot of people don't know about that.
Is it the Decennium?
The Audi R8?
The Decennium edition, right? Is that what it is?
What would be classified as a Decennium edition?
I'm not sure. There's just one that's called a Decennium.
Is it after the 2020 model? 2021?
I think it's 2020, the Decennium edition. I think it's like something like
I believe
50
Tom
years.
is. I think Tom's a 2018.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's a 2020.
What's rare about it?
There's only 400 of them. Compared to like the 14,000 that Lamborghini Huracans are out there, So
True.
When I see a Lamborghini Huracan, it's not rare to me.
I see more Huracans than TTRSs.
Yeah, you see more Huracans than Ferraris nowadays.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, But like I said, for me, Ferraris or Ford GTs, like that's where I sit, and then
Mhm.
obviously the GT3 RS. But basically, yeah, I mean, I'm German all day, just like you.
That's good. Why
So
the GT3, not the GT2? Sounds better.
sounds better, and the thing is that I think I just wouldn't be able to handle a GT2 RS.
Of course, once the boost kicks in.
I mean, regardless, like that car's got so much power, and then the chassis, and then the weight of that
So
car, and then
light,
the
so
engine being in the
rocket.
back. You're just like, holy cow, with the aerodynamics and everything.
Yeah.
Like you got to
The
be really
new
careful
one
with
is
it.
going to be insane. I mean, if the 911...
I've already seen the concepts of it, or the ones that they're building, but we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see how that goes. But what'd you say about the 911s?
So, do you know who Alan Humphreys is?
Sounds familiar, but
He just bought a new 992 911. A
okay.
brand new one.
Isn't he the one that had the white Ferrari
Pista.
488 or Pista?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
all right, okay.
He still has it, I think.
Yeah.
But that thing goes from 0 to 60 in like 2 seconds. And stock.
Yeah,
Stock.
but the BMW MA competition package goes
3
0 to
seconds.
60. No,
Mhm.
it goes less than that.
I think it's like 2.7.
2.5.
2.5.
Yeah.
Dude, cars
Stock.
are getting faster.
Yeah.
Stock.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, if you tune the MA competition package, you'll be able to compete with with
Yeah.
Porsche. I mean, even with the F10 and F13 M6s, the 4.4 liter, if you tune it with it, there's this one tuning company out there. I remember Jordan was talking to me about from Supercars in Dallas, and I saw a YouTube video of it. It was literally with just a tune. It was keeping up with an Aventador. It was keeping up with an Aventador. It was very impressive. Yeah.
I'm telling you, when you go boosted, there's plenty of potential there. That's why there's so much potential in the 5-cylinders.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, you can put the turbo in a fucking 5-cylinder and just
turbo.
a single turbo and a 5-cylinder.
Yeah.
Shit.
I know they're developing a electric turbo and a
Mhm.
twin scroll right now for the
Mm.
5-cylinders, and that's going to be a game changer.
You think so?
Big single turbo that's twin
Okay.
scroll, so it just spools like this.
Interesting. Well, we'll see how that goes.
Huge shawl, yeah.
But at the end of the day, with all this conversation that we just had, you want a TTRS. Okay.
I do.
When do you plan on getting the TTRS?
Later this year.
Later this year?
Ordering it later this year.
You're going to order it? Really?
I'm trying to get the last TTRS ever made because they're stopping production at the end of the year.
So you want the last VIN?
Yep.
Basically.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be interesting. What color?
Daytona Gray Pearl.
Are you going to order it at a dealership? Or are you going to order it online? Like, how are you going to order it?
Dealership. $5,000 is what they want to deposit.
Mad respect.
Last year I went in like August and I got the 21 brochure of all the options for the 21 model before it even released.
Really?
Yep. And I still have the guy's contact info and everything. He said, just hit me up when you're ready. But
well, shit. More power to you on that one, man.
100%.
Shucks.
It's going to be the same exact color as the Passat.
Okay.
Just a more of a blue tint to the metallic, but yeah, it's super nice.
Well, this has been a really good experience for me so far, so I hope you've had a great experience throughout this whole entire video podcast. But to finish up, obviously you heard I bought a 1999 BMW M3 E36, and currently it's at it's at a paint shop right now, getting painted. It's going to be ready next week, hopefully. And basically, I got it from a guy that was a car enthusiast. His inventory was.
I know you can't say what it.
I can't say what it was, but it was $500,000 worth of inventory in his.
Well, how many cars though?
Above 10.
Okay.
Total. Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
There's the shop near me in Addison. If you ever go by Addison, go visit. It's called Auto Hans. They got super rare Porsches in there from the 60s and the 70s.
Yeah, I think what's his face told me about it. Dave, I think. Dave told me about
Ferrari
it.
Dave?
No, Ferrari Tractor Dave. Is that who you're talking about, or a different Dave?
The one who owns the Gallardo, the red one.
No.
Okay.
I'm talking about a different Dave. Yeah,
okay.
This is this Dave. He has an E60 M5. He has a 74 Porsche Carrera. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and he owns a Ferrari Tractor. Yeah, so he's got an interesting lineup.
That's
but
wicked.
Other than that, he just it was an amazing experience. And literally, it was 2 days before I was having dinner with Zeke. So shout out to Zeke over at Grimaldi's, and I just had this financial opportunity, and I was like, I'm gonna do something with it. And then eventually, I'm going online and I'm going on and Facebook Marketplace, and I realized everybody goes on Facebook Marketplace and buys their car.
It's so weird.
It's, I mean, not only is it weird, I'm like, it's so norm, it's so generic now.
Yeah.
People have completely forgotten about Craigslist. And so I get on Craigslist and I just hit BMW. And sure enough, out of nowhere, I see this M3.
Rare.
And I'm like, well, I mean, rare or whatnot. I'm like, okay, BMW M3, regardless. Yeah, it's rare. But it's like, it's an M3 and it's at the price point that I want it for. And maybe I can work the price with them. And sure enough, I had a conversation with him. I was like, hey, man, like, can you work on the price a little bit? Like, I'm all the way in Dallas. And he was willing to drive the car all the way to Dallas for me. Ooh. I didn't do it. I didn't want to do it. I was like, no, not really. So Eric Tacos, he was like, bro, let's go. He was like, I'm bored as fuck. Got nothing to do. Let's fucking go. And sure enough, I was like, all right, I got nothing to go. I called the guy, and we get there around 6 o'clock in the afternoon. I test drive the car. Didn't see any issues with it. My main concern, like I said, was the engine, transmission, and AC and heater, and all of that was working. I knew the AC needed Freon, and majority of the other stuff was like electrical components, which is like a window regulator, and then the top, and then obviously the other bullshit cosmetic stuff.
Exactly.
Like, it doesn't really matter to me at that point.
As long as the car drives.
Yeah. Well, like I took it on an open road and hit 110 miles an hour with it, and I was like, oh, yeah, I'm good. Yeah. And I brought it back and I cleaned it up a little bit. And then today I was like, hey, I want to get the opportunity to hopefully, see if somebody wants to do something for me. And then sure enough, this paint shop company hit me up. They're like, hey, do you want us to, help you out? It's like, sure. And sure enough, I go there, and apparently the guys that work there, they know me. Never even heard of them, but they know me. They're like, yeah, we know you. You got that M5 E60, the blue one? I was like, great. Yeah, that's me. And apparently they knew me through David at Dallas Beamer, is his Instagram. And he was like, hey, man, yeah, I know these guys, and they know you. Take your car there, see if they... And I went there, and I was like, hey, man, like, this is how much I want to spend, and what are you going to do? And unfortunately, this morning when I was driving the car, I parked my car, and then I realized like my whole entire coolant is flushing right down the radiator.
So sad.
And I'm like, man, what's going on? Okay, well, BMW first of all, so
yeah, that's the first thing.
Yeah. Then I was driving it towards them, and then I started overheating. Then I had to, stop, get some coolant, pour it in, and then it was still pouring, and I think my expansion tank, the hose to it, either cracked or my actual expansion tank cracked or something like that, because it was just pouring. As soon as I was pouring it, yeah, it did something to it. And I was like, it didn't happen like that yesterday. And I'm like, maybe with the heat and the expansion, and finally said, fuck it. But so then we had to put, coolant and Freon again. Yeah, coolant again.
Coolant, yeah.
And for about like 3-4 minutes, I was like, oh my God, I'm driving this car in overheat. Like, fuck, like, please just get me through this. And thankfully, finally, we managed to get through. And I left the car there, and they said, come back in 4 days, and I'm going to get about a week or so and see what happens. So they can at least, fix a radiator for me while they're over there.
Yeah, I'm really glad you got it there. That's the big part.
Yeah.
You didn't have to tow it.
No, I didn't have to tow it. I mean, even if I did, I got a guy that's got a towing company, so we should be good. Yeah, on that aspect. But other than that, we'll see how the M3 turns out. But other than that, it's really impressive. It's a 1999 with 136,000 miles on it, clean title. And the key has the original security alarm with it to unlock and lock it. Yeah,
it's wicked.
Got the original book right there in front of you with all the good stuff. And yeah, it's green on tan, with the top. And like I said, only 136,000 miles. It's not every day that you can see one with 136,000 miles.
Yeah.
Majority of the ones that you see, either 180, 190, 200, 250. I'm like, okay, I got ways to go. This car has less miles than my own M5. So I'm like, okay. And just driving it, it's like comfy. It's like, I don't have any issues with it. So we'll see how that goes. But other than that, do you have any questions for me?
Let me think about this for a sec.
Okay.
So, are you going to put any miles, like miles on this M3 like you did your M5, or are you just going to kind of take it out once in a while?
No, I'm going to daily the M3.
Okay, good.
I will daily the M3. I will take care of all the stuff that I wanted to, and then eventually I'm going to sell it. Cool. So, but for now, I think I'll be proud to be an M3 owner for now.
Yeah.
There are times where I'm just like, it would be a cool track car, So I do have some ideas. It's just a matter of timing right now. And right now, the prices of the E36 M3s are going up. Yeah, and so are the E46 M3s.
Yep,
And then what was really interesting was when I dropped out the car, the guy that knew that I had an M5 E60, he has an E39 M5 manual. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and so he brought me back to my place, and I was like, "Well, have you ever been in an M5 E60?" He was like, "No." I was like, "Well, I'm about to give you the ride of your life." And so he got in mine, and he got a really good taste out of it. And I'm
Did you guys
pretty
leave
sure
the windows down?
in some areas, yeah, we did. In some areas, yeah, we did. But
170, 180 with the windows down.
Something like that.
That was fun. That was fun.
It was fun for the most part. Yeah, yeah. But yeah. So that's the story on the M3.
That's good.
I don't know what really I'm going to do with it. It's just a matter of I got it for a really good reasonable price, and if I want to keep it, I can keep it. If I don't, I don't.
Yeah, 100%.
It's not the end of the world for me, but the fact that it's an opportunity for me.
Yeah.
And right now, from what I know in Texas, from going on all the platforms of Facebook, Car Gurus, Cars.com, Auto Trader, I believe I'm the only one that has it in green in Texas. So something to brag about for now.
That's good.
So, until somebody else shows up. But yeah, man, that's pretty much it.
When I get my Audi, you want to take a ride?
No. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my god! I was like, now I was starting to.
No, I'm just kidding. No, absolutely. It will be definitely a joy.
Cool,
so,
man. I'd love to open people's eyes to what the potential that thing has.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see how many people are going to get the TTRS besides you.
Not many.
Yeah, we'll see.
Very few, and the value is going to go up too because they're just continuing it. It's so sad.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But other than that, thanks all for showing up, man. I hope you had a good time.
I did.
We all had a great time. Once again, my name is Naveed. And we got Kris here, and we're signing off. So take care, guys.
Later, guys.